How you doing? This is John and welcome to John's Long Box. I got a request for this, so of course I'll do it. This is Creepy number 1, 35 cents. This is by Warren Publishing, and I forget the actual date, but we'll check that out when we open up the comic. Okay, this is a magazine size. It's bigger than regular comics. And this was an anthology horror comic. This wonderful cover is by Jack Davis, who you may or may not know from Mad Magazine. They took a lot of the guys who worked for EC Comics who found themselves out of work, and they took top of the line and they put them in Creepy. Later on, Eerie came out. Now, Eerie was a follow-up comic to Creepy, but I did Eerie first. I don't know why. So look at this cover. We got just wonderful monsters, Frankenstein's. Just great. This is the debut of Uncle Creepy. Uncle Creepy. Unfortunately, it's I don't know. That's the scariest thing of the comic is that name. So here's an editorial. That's Uncle Creepy, and this is publisher James Warren. This is editor Russ Jones. The other one was why can't I think of the name? Archie Goodwin. Joe Orlando came up with the story ideas, and look at this roster: Reed Crandall, Jack Davis, George Evans, Frank Frazetta, Gray Morrow, Joe Orlando, Angelo Torres, Al Williamson, Maurice Whitman. Just look at all of these freaking artists. It's just classic. Just classic artwork. I haven't read this in so long, and it was just a joy to reread. 1964. So here we go, 1964. And this is in surprisingly good shape. So here we have Voodoo, art by Joe Orlando, story by Russ Jones and Bill Pearson. Look at that splash page. And here we have Uncle Creepy, like, setting you up. And I have to note that there's no continuity. Every story just starts and ends. It's self-contained little stories. If you remember that movie Creepshow, it's like that. Or Twilight Zone. This woman that I could just marvel at this. It's just a pleasure to look at this artwork. So here's this woman just dancing around, just having fun at the old voodoo ceremony, And here's her drunk husband, piece of crap, just being a jerk, not working, drinking, and she's coming home, and they're fighting. And what's in the bag? Oh, a shrunken voodoo head. That's good. So I don't know who I sympathize with in the story. Throws the voodoo head out the window. And if you're drinking, I'm leaving. Good, leave. Now that you leave, I could go partying. So I'm going quick because as much as I love this, I got to admit the stories are kind of, I don't know. Wasn't around in 1964, so I don't know if these were like great shakes at the time. But I find them to be kind of trite. But look at that panel. Just look at that panel. And I'm going to be saying that a lot. So his wife is going a little bit voodoo crazy, and she picks up a machete and she swings at him. He swings at her, and then she gets decapitated off panel. Little, the EC would have shown it, but this is Creepy. Creepy's got a little more decorum, I guess. So he's running away, sticking his head, getting some water, freaking out. Look at that face. That is just awesome artwork, and that to me is everything. And this I like too. If you notice, look how detailed the backgrounds are and the shading, and this little progression. It's kind of like dreamlike, and I think that like is symbolizing him his madness. And are you ready, Frank? And here, maybe this snapped him back to reality. Just look at that's just a wonderful panel. She's in shade. Frank, she's got the voodoo head. Frank, and he's freaking out. And she goes to strangle him. And that is something else. It's gruesome, but it's beautiful at the same time. Just look at the clothes, the folds in the clothes. I would love to see this in color, but black and white is so good. And of course, that's the end of the story. Yes, Frank believed her for now. He was thoroughly convinced. You could just see the lifelessness, the way the pose, just such good art. This story the story itself was kind of, I don't care, the H2O world, but here. This is story by Larry Ivy and art by Al Williamson and Roy Krinkle. I don't know anything about Roy Krinkle, but just looks like a photograph. That's drawn. This is not computers. This is not 3D modeling. This is drawn. This is 1964. They don't have all this stuff yet. Just phenomenal. Look at the lack of backgrounds, but I guess from this angle you look it up at the sky. They're in the water. And again, this war in publishing, they were really big on letting the artists sign their name, giving credit to the team. A lot of companies weren't doing this at the time, so they found these diamonds. These buildings were made out of diamond, and the way they reflected and carried the colors, they were invisible. So he just happened to spy on one, and now they're exploring. So these are unknown aquatic cities, and they're starting to realize that they were built for people who could live underwater, because the doors are high up, there's no handrails, there's no stairs, things like that. So they're starting to, as they're exploring, they're realizing these are not for humans. So they're getting a little nervous. And, I just like the bubbles, they're swimming around. One of my pet peeves, whenever they do water, they just put lines. Like, they should be like, everything should be dirty. There should be like vines floating through the air. Whenever old Submariner or Aquaman comics, it was just people, and then like you'd see a fish in the background to remind you that it's underwater, like right here. And this is perfect. You see, you got this little aquatic thing, you got fish, school of fish. This, to me, and it's kind of dark. Look how dark they are. Look how deep they are underwater. So the dialogue, they're just like talking aloud their wonder and amazement at all of these things that they're finding in the water. So the dialogue, and then also one of the creatures jumps out at them, and now they get taken before the king. And the king explains to them, we got to hide. Your people aren't ready for us. We're going to give you drops of this fish this rare fish that'll make you lose your memory for the past 24 hours. But, we're peaceful and blah, 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 blah. He goes, but got to understand that millions of years ago, we had a nuclear war and it caused mutants. And these are the mutants. So if you people saw us, you'd freak out like she's screaming and try to kill us all. So that's why we got to erase your memory. Ta-da! So there you go. I thought this was a weak story. Wasn't my favorite. Art was nice, though. Okay, here we got some Reed Crandall. Art by Reed Crandall. Story by Archie Goodwin. That's the name. I couldn't remember at the beginning. I don't know why I couldn't remember that name. But look at this. So here they are in some like a barren isle. They don't tell you where, but I think it's like some Italy. And look at this. Just wonderful. Someplace in Eastern Europe, maybe, if not Italy. But Vampiri. So this guy was found dead, bodies drained. Look at the faces over here. The looming castle in the background. And then this beautiful woman. Carlos, let me oversleep, darling. Where are you? So he brings, here, have your juice. She's like, it was clear when we were married. Day is for sleeping, night is for living. This is Count Orsiri. And his wife. He goes, remember, I'm working on my book. So I work best at night. So until the book's done, we wake up at sunset and we go to bed at sunrise. And she's like, this juice is plenty. Would you like the rest? He's like, I had some when I got up while I was working. He goes, wouldn't it be more cheerful writing in the daytime? He's like, no, we can't. She goes, forgive my nagging and blah, blah, blah. Look at it's all slinky and everything. Look at just him. And then his I just like the decorations, the ornate. Just so cool, the artwork. These are master draftsmen. These guys definitely took some classes in architect or something, Great faces. Every face is distinct. Every face. And you see the same. So now they're being questioned by the local police about the murders. And he's like, get out of here, you bum. I'm all the servants could tell you that I sleep during the day, and so I didn't do anything. And she's like, oh, look, it's dawn about to break. So he's like, I'm going to go write on my book. You go listen to records. So she's just milling about. It's me, she goes looking for him, but he's out. And every one of these books is about vampires. And so she's reading about vampires, and she's like, "Oh, look, these sheets, they're covered, the shirts, they're covered in bloodstains." And she's like putting two deep, "You're a vampire." No. So she's running from him. She goes, "I can't believe this. You're a vampire." He goes, "Prove to me you're not a vampire. I'm going to open up the curtains and we're going to watch the sunrise." And she's like, you know, and sometimes I've learned that some vampires, they feel so guilty that they don't even know they're a vampire. And the only time they remember a vampire is when they get so hungry and they have to go out and feed. Because that's why I've been killing people and giving you their blood, because you're the vampire, not me. And she dies in the sunlight. Ta-da. So she burns up. She was the vampire, didn't know she was a vampire. Yeah, I'm spoiling it. Monster World. Look at that. The monsters. Monster Man. Now here, oh my God. We ready for this? This is Werewolf by Frank Frazetta doing all the artwork. Okay? Story by Larry Ivy. So Werewolf. Look at this. Oh God. That is just awesome. I could stare at that forever. So here we have the Great White Hunter. What's his name? Demon. Kip Demon. How macho. And he goes to Africa, and they're going to hire him to find out the, what's the name of the monster? Gontiqua. The Gontiqua monster who lives in the Gontiqua Valley. So the native is like, yeah, we need your help. So he's like, all right, but when I catch it, I'm going to take its skin, because if it's so rare, it's got to be valuable. And they're like, yeah, sure, do whatever you want, as long as you get rid of the monster. So he's telling them about it. Look at that panel. Joe, so freaking cool. Frazetta's a master. Look at the big moon behind it. So good. She's like, okay, a lot of dialogue over here. Faces are great. Oh, that's another thing. Look at that face. That you know, that's a powerful, angry, dangerous man. Just by the way the face looks. Look at that. That is great. Look at that hair. So they're going out, and he's like, yeah, I this is how much money I want. I want to keep the pelt, and blah blah blah. So now he's going out and yelling, and this guy's like, did we go around in a big circle? And he's like, don't tell me what to do. Like, this guy was right. The main character was wrong, and he's still lashing out. He's like, look out, there's a snake. And then his assistant shoots the snake, and he's like, trying to make a fool out of me. You know, everything, nobody can do anything right. He's just a bully, just a jerk, just a bully. And now look at this panel. Look at this panel. Holy moly, that is just perfection. The sky, this creature's, look at that growl. This is Frank Frazetta, ladies and gentlemen. And then the plant, the detail, coming over the hill, just showing his dominance and power, staring down at them. You could see like the subtle wavering in this tough guy's body. He's going to him for, like, as much as they were fighting, he's like, all right, I'm going. Just so much. Wouldn't you like that? That's as an art print. And then he shoots. Just look at the action. Look at the action of that. And then it's a subtle fear. It's doubting his own power. And notice, you just have a pow, but I don't even think you needed that. But you don't need that much dialogue. And then the dialogue is in this panel. You know, he doesn't want to cover up this beautiful artwork, the hats on the ground. He goes, look, it's standing there waiting as though daring me to shoot again. And he goes, perhaps there was something to this legend. Perhaps I am facing a werewolf. And he shoots, pow, pow. And here this thing just falls. He's like, aha, I only hit it in the shoulder and it's dead. He goes, it was a werewolf and it's still alive. And you can see, look at the mask changing. Look at it's gasping, and it turns into a man who says, for 30 years I would turn into a werewolf and fight everybody. My only weakness was this patch on my shoulder. I exposed it to you and I realized you could kill me. Now you are the werewolf. So this jerk is transforming. He goes, yes, you got the skin. You got the pelt. He goes, Demon wanted the pelt of Gontiqua, and now it is his to keep for a long time. Look at that panel. Look at that panel. So he got what he deserved. He was a jerk, and now he's a werewolf. Bewitched. This is all right. But Gray Morrow artwork. So art by Gray Morrow, story by Larry Ivy. Bewitched. Okay, so this guy's searching through their attic. Hey, look what I found. He goes, an ancient book on witchcraft. Must have been in your attic before your grandmother moved in. So they just moved into this house, and he's searching, and she starts talking. He goes, I have many legends about my grandmothers that tell me that she was, that's nonsense. That's nonsense. All the stories of witches were true. You'd have to. So he goes, but I'm going to read this book. So he kind of gets obsessed with this book about witches. He's like, yeah, if witches were real, they would have to be working on charms all the time. Hey, it says here that I found a spell for killing witches. It says every time you burn a branch of holly on top of Douglas Hill, a witch dies. I'll do it just for laughs. Then I'll be able to tell everybody I killed a witch. So he goes to get some holly. He goes, yeah, I got a whole bunch. He goes, I'll take it all. I'll take all of it. Why just kill one witch when I kill a dozen, right? He's like, what were you saying about witches? I'll tell you in the morning. So this woman's like, did that man just buy holly branches? Yeah, he bought them all. She's like, oh no. So she goes out. He's trying to light. The wind is blowing out all the matches. He's like, hey, this is funny. Look at it. Looks like the witches don't want me. Ha 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 ha. And this woman screams. So he finally lights one. He gets one lit, and this woman dies. So now the cat comes out to attack him, and he gets scared, and he's hiding. Other old ladies are watching him. He's in bed, and now he's having these freaky dreams. Look at this. It's like Steve Ditko. Steve Ditko dreams, He's all super realistic, and then this nightmarish world. There's a bomb in the dream. He's freaking out the dream. Look at this. What's that? Triceratops coming at him in the dream. He's running, and he wakes up. He goes, I've been bewitched. I don't know what's going on. He goes, what's going on? It's like, I'm having these pains in the chest. It's like, yeah, look, Dad. These old ladies came, and she gave everybody in school these little dolls. They look like you with pins. She's like, what? Ta-da. So the whole city has witch dolls of him, voodoo dolls, whatever you want to call them. This, I think, is so cool. The Human Skull. These are the same ads in the Erie. But this, I don't know anything about this, but apparently it was like a cool thing to get like 8mm prints of movies and watch them. You have your home theater, When I was a kid, it was VHS tapes, and laser discs was like when I was really young. And I guess even before that, it was you had your own home projectors and you get movies. I don't know, that's pretty cool. This story, this one's all right. This is art by Al Williamson, just great artwork. It's written by Archie Goodwin. Success story. So here we got some monsters coming up out of the street, and this guy, he's a successful syndicate cartoon artist. Look, he's drawing the panel borders. He's like, look at the talent list. Look at this. He goes, how do you get started? He goes, well, he kind of looks like the guy who does Dennis the Menace and Family Circle. He goes, well, Mac, it's a long story. So now the real story. Get out of here. Just rule those panel borders. He goes, because if you don't get a real strip, I'm going to divorce you. He's like, oh God. He goes, so he shows off his real work. He goes, yeah, your drawing stinks, your story stinks, everything stinks. You should stick to drawing panel borders. So my Uncle Marvin died, but the cash he left, we could hire someone to write, draw, and ink. That strip will be sold in no time. So he hires one guy to write it, another guy to draw it, another guy to ink it. And all he does is make the panel borders. Right? He makes sure that they never meet each other, and he gets a successful comic strip. Look at him looking like Jeff Goldblum. He goes, I've been writing for so long now, I want to raise. I've been drawing for so long, I want to raise. I've been inking for so long, I want to raise. So these three guys meet up at a deli. He's like, what do you do for a living? It's like, I write this strip. Really, you write it? I draw it. You draw it, I ink it. Wait a minute. So he goes, we're on to you. Without us, your strip is nothing. We want what's coming to us. So here's, I've been expecting this. Boom, boom, boom. He goes, why do you think I've been working you so hard? I got years worth of work. So he jumps off the bodies, and now, back to the first panel. That is great. Can my son get an original drawing? He's like, original drawing? Yeah, come by tomorrow, and I'll give you an original drawing. So he's looking, and he's getting some artwork from the future, because he had the guys do so much extra work. So I'll get some extra work, and I'll just sign it. And then he opens the door, and there's the zombies of the three guys. I really like the story, except for the zombies. I think, I don't know. I just like the idea of this guy hiring three different people. It's so funny. So he comes back the next day to get the original drawing. And his studio's a mess, and he finds this basically painted in blood. He goes, "Oh my God, we're never going to see him again." So, ta-da! There's the story. In Pursuit of the Vampire. This one was clever. Art by Angelo Torres, story by Archie Goodwin. So they're going on a good old-fashioned vampire hunt. Look at this artwork. You know, you could just tell this is like some European peasants. You know, they got the pickaxes. Look at the faces. You know, I don't know why I'm thinking of Italy. I don't know. I guess because of the Italian Hammer films and stuff like that. And then going to the graveyard and just got the statues of death. He goes, "You hired me to get a vampire? Well, I'm gonna go get me a vampire." He goes, "But we're going in. It's the full moon. It's the best time to get them because they'll be up because it's dark and there'll be enough light for us to attack." He goes, "But your guns won't be doing anything." He's like, "We're gonna storm vampires, and our guns will be useless." He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "That's why I got a hammer and a stake." So he's convincing them all to come with them, and they're going in, and they catch the vampire woman at the door. So let's go, let's mobilize. So he's got to give them a speech because some people are scared, some people are gung ho, but he's got to be a leader and keep them all organized. Look, let's go. There she goes. There she goes. So they go in, and here she is. I forget, either she was turning this woman into a vampire or she was rousing another vampire, and he just jumps and stakes her. And at this point, I was thinking, what if he just murdered a normal woman? But there's the teeth. So I thought for a second that this was going to be like a different story, that the crowd talked him into killing a normal woman. He goes, and there's the other woman. She's a vampire. So he's like, thunk. And he's like, "Looks like it's done, Burgermeister. The night air outside will do us pretty good." He goes, "It's fine." He goes, "Not quite, Burgermeister. Someone attacked those girls and made them vampires. That person is still around." He goes, "It's not over until we find that person." He goes, "Oh, and by the way, I took you out here and notice that you don't have a reflection. So Bergen, how come you? Because you're too observant, my friend. I should have been satisfied with those 2 girls I allowed you to kill. And now for your meddling, you're going to die. This greed of the vampire, the bloodlust, night after night. Another victim. I can't let you destroy this village. I need it for myself every full moon. Dun, dun, dun. Werewolves versus vampires." The end. And that's the first issue of Creepy. Here's the back cover. This is really the only problem with this issue, is this little, discoloration. But it's so good. Such good artwork. Such good artwork. And I know I harp on stuff like that, but you don't see artwork like this anymore. These guys are all gone. And these were original comic book artists. These guys took their job seriously. These were master craftsmen. And I did 2 modern Marvel comics in the past few weeks, and no comparison. So there you go. Creepy. Bye. It's a bygone age. You don't see stuff like this anymore, and I don't know if you ever will see stuff like this anymore. The artwork, I mean, the writing is okay. The writing is fine, but that artwork is just so good. But thanks a lot. This was a request, so I enjoyed doing this. It was a lot of fun. Thank you. Hope you have a great Christmas. Next week is Christmas, and I'll see you tomorrow with another comic. Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to me ramble on about old comics. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.